Okay, hello. This is my expository book video, whatever you want to call it. The book that I chose is Where the Wild Things Are. I only have the Hebrew version, but it doesn't matter. It's still good. The author is Maurice Sendak. Um, and yeah, I guess I'll summarize the book first. So basically, it's about this boy named Max who's in a wolf suit. Let's see if I can find them. Wolf suit. Here's the wolf suit. He's in a wolf suit, and he's acting a fool, going wild. And his mom basically says, "Go to your room. Go to your room without any dinner." So then he goes to his room without any dinner, and he's all mad. And then suddenly his room starts to transform into a forest, which is crazy. And it keeps growing until finally the walls collapse and it's like this whole world. Then he hops on a boat over there. He hops on a boat and starts sailing away for apparently years until he gets to where the wild things are, which is these like crazy looking monsters right here. And at first, the wild things are, showing their teeth, they're roaring, showing their claws, trying to be all scary. But Max is not afraid. He shows them a magic trick. And then the wild things are like, whoa, he's the most wild thing ever. And so they make him king of the wild things. Then they party all night long, just dancing away, climbing stuff, piggyback rides. Then Max tells them to go to bed without any supper, which is like what his mom did to him, which I found kind of interesting. And over here you can see Max is starting to feel lonely. He wants to go back home. He wants there to be someone to love him for everything he is, not just his wild side. So he decides to pack his things up, get on his boat, and go. And the wild things are all like, no, no, don't leave, please. But he leaves. And when he gets home, his supper is waiting for him, still warm. So, the Maryland standard that I would use for this would be for the reading literature, which is to read closely to determine what the text says explicitly and to make logical inferences from it. And I would teach this to first graders, so by the end of the lesson, the students should be able to ask and answer questions about key details from the text. The component of literacy I would focus on would be vocabulary development, because for a first grader, obviously this is in Hebrew, so it's not gonna work, but there are some words in here that I think are valuable and that I think could be taught through this book. And like the ADJV presentation, how nouns and verbs are illustrated in books, I think that's done really well in this book, which makes it a good tool to teach vocabulary, I think. What considerations must be taken for you? Okay, so for an English language learner, they might not know why Max's mom sent him to his room, what that's called, like the concept of grounding someone. I personally did not know what that was when I moved here as a child, so I think that might be something that an English language learner might need some direction in, as well as why he's in a wolf suit. Like, I don't know, maybe that's a stretch, but like the whole pajama thing, maybe. I don't know. That might be a stretch. Aside from that, though, I think the vocabulary in this book is something that the entire class would need assistance with, not just the English language learners. So, yeah, I think in all, this book is is pretty good. Its strengths are the vocabulary, like I said, the illustrations for sure, and some weaknesses. I'd say it might be kind of hard to follow the plot of this book because it is kind of like dreamy, like it's kind of discontinuous, and it moves by quickly, and it might be hard to understand. But um, I think that it's not that bad. Um, so the activity that I would have the learners do after reading this, since we want them to be able to answer questions based on the text, I would give them blank sheets of paper, and I would have them write a question on the top of their paper, and then have them like draw something. Maybe they can draw something that relates to the question, or their own version of like a wild thing, something. Something to keep the kids that like to draw like engaged and stuff. And then once they've done that, I would ask them to trade papers with the person next to them, and then they would answer each other's questions basically. Um, and that would be engaging. I think it would be fun because they get to draw and use colors, and it also satisfies the Maryland standard. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. And if we were to have time at the end of the lesson, I might even, try and sneak in a little dance party like the Wild Things did with Max. And yeah, I think this book is great because it portrays like a wild kid as something that's good. And even though this kid, was punished and ended up lost in some different world, he still came home, and there was still supper waiting for him, and there was still like that support waiting for him. So um, yeah, I like the way the author portrays that type of person, and I think in general for the kids that we label as kind of wild or like troublemakers, I think this is a good book because it shows them that there's someone there, there's a way back, I guess. And yeah, that is all.